Hi, we're going to go over how to use the paper cutter today and how to use the paper cutter safely. I'm going to start out with this 9x12 piece of white sulfite paper and introduce you to the different parts of the paper cutter. The cutting arm is to the right side of the paper cutter. There is a spring, a heavy-duty spring right here, and that's going to make it so that when I bring the arm up, it stays in place. Without that spring, it would just drop down. And then the cutting edge is at the edge of that. And then this is the safety bar. That's the finger guide. You want to make sure that your fingers, your hand, always to the left side of that red bar, or that kind of burgundy bar. When you're cutting, you want to make sure you're holding onto the handle of the cutting bar. Make sure your hand is not on that cutting surface, that kind of knife edge there. You don't want to have your hand on that. You want to hold back on the handle of it. There's a ruler on the very back, and that ruler corresponds or goes with the grid that is on the paper cutter surface. I'm going to zoom in some here so you can see that grid. Those are 1/2-inch squares, and I'm going to use those 1/2-inch square grids to make it so that I make sure that my paper is really nice and square. Can you see how right now I've got an angle here? It's really close to the line there, and it's a whole 1/2 inch plus by the time it gets to the end of the paper there. So I want to line up that edge with the line, and it's a cut-in line, so the edge of my paper comes right up to and is even with the line on the paper cutter. Now I also want that side, so over here it's lined up with it. Okay, so I'm going to zoom back out. Okay, now I didn't pay much attention when I was setting up to what size that was, but it just so happens it's exactly what I want. I want to cut a piece 9x6, but if I cut it this way, I'm going to have a lot of excess paper. So I'm going to cut this way, and I'm going to bring that to the 9. And it's pretty even. One edge is actually better than the other, so I'm going to cut off the kind of rough edge. So I'm going to line that up, bring that edge right over to the grid, and I'm going to hold down on my paper so it doesn't move. I'm going to slowly bring down that arm, and holding onto the handle part, not onto the blade part. Very slowly bring that down so that I don't cut myself and so that I don't damage anything. I'm going to turn that paper, and I want this to be, I want 9x6 pieces of paper. So now it's a 12-inch piece. So I'm going to go to the 6-inch. I'm going to go to that grid mark. I'm going to hold down my piece of paper, very slowly cut so that I'm holding the arm, this big arm, I'm holding that arm in toward the paper cutter body. I'm not pushing it out. I'm going to hold in. Slowly, carefully cut that down. And then I have a 6x9 piece of paper, which is what I was needing. And actually, I have 2. So, perfect. Have a great day.